Hello, everybody. Welcome back to SoCal Loopers, Loop and Learn. And tonight we're going to be talking about Apple Watch and apps that you can work on your Apple Watch, and also how to build some applets if that's interesting to you. You'll be hearing from Glenn tonight. You'll hear from me. You'll hear from Kenny, Sarah, and Cassidy may pipe up. So we're all on, and I hope you get to learn a lot tonight. It should be a little bit different than what we normally do. And let me give you the disclaimer that we always start with, which is you understand that this is a do-it-yourself project that is highly experimental. It is not FDA approved. It's not approved for therapy, and you take full and 100% responsibility for building and running your own system, and you do so at your own risk. Say, yes, I agree, and then we're good to go. So we're going to be talking all about Apple Watch, and we're going to answer all your questions, and all of my team is going to nod their heads. What you'll need, or what you might want to have while we're doing this, is have your Apple iPhone with you. If you have an Apple Watch, also have it there, so you might be looking at what we're doing, and you might want to have a notepad to take notes, but this will be up in video pretty shortly. So let's look at what we're going to talk about. You don't have to take notes on this. This is just simply how we're going to go. Glenn's going to take you through this whole little checklist, and then if we have time when we're done, we'll talk about shortcuts and IFTTT. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to turn this over to Glenn. You are on.
This is a thumbs up, thumbs down quiz. Can Apple Watch be used to run Loop? So hit your voting button. I think you have thumbs up and thumbs down on your voting thing.
Oh, under participants.
Under participants. So vote. And I'll give you a hint. I answered it actually in the Loop group today. So my definition is, that's enough time to vote, is that the Apple Watch can be used to help Loop, but it can't be used to run Loop. So that is my my answer to that question. So hopefully you all agree with me. If you don't, it doesn't matter because I'm the one that wrote it. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is setting up the complications. So the way to set up complications is you open your watch app, which I conveniently go to Watch on my quick start screen, and then I will talk primarily about modular because I'm using an Apple Watch 3, which only really allows you to use the modular complication to select multiple apps. So what is a complication? A complication is a screen in the Apple Watch that lets you pick a couple of Apple Watch acceptable apps and put them in a few positions. So there are 6 positions on the Apple Watch, and this complication screen controls where what you put in the 6 different positions. So in my particular instance today, I've got the date in the top left. So it says top left date. Top right, I have top right is automatically time. The middle is calendar. The bottom left is free APS, which is just one branch of Loop, and it happens to be the branch that I'm running. The bottom middle is Nightguard, and the bottom right is the Dexcom G6. How do you pick a different one? Well, you pick on the complication and you go, hey, I want to look at moon phase. And then you then go back, and now it should be on moon phase. Waning crescent moon. I'm going to switch it back to calendar though.
So it's just that simple. You just
It's that simple. And you can change colors and stuff too, but I am just always, I just leave mine on the default colors.
By the
So
way, yeah, you can, as you said, change colors, and that's kind of fun if you want to match it with your outfits. It actually works because I've done that for a while, so that's a fun thing to do.
now I am using an Apple Watch 3, which this is the Apple Watch 3 right there. The Apple Watch 3 is not the current model. I am using a non-cellular version, so it does not connect to any self-service. I can't make a call with it unless my phone happens to be near me. But here's another question for you. If you have an Apple Watch with self-service, is it of any benefit in Loop? And we won't do the formal program on it. It really is of no benefit in Loop. Really the only benefit of using an Apple Watch with cell service presently is that you can make a phone call with it without the phone being nearby. And if you're a runner or something and you want to run with the Apple Watch, the GPS is actually on the watch also. So you can run and track your runs and things like that without the phone being with you. You can also listen to music on the phone, and you can listen to that music on AirPods without the Apple Watch being next to you. And of course, you have to pay the monthly fee to the cell service, but it doesn't really do anything for Loop. So in order for Loop to work with the Apple Watch, the phone still has to be nearby, and the Dexcom transmitter has to be nearby, and the Riley link has to be nearby, and the pump needs to be nearby, whether that pump is an Omnipod or a Medtronic or whatever is available in other countries. I know it's actually it's just the two of them. So that's it really doesn't, the cellular advantage doesn't really do that much. So the next question is, how do you add and remove apps that are in on the Apple Watch? In this case, I'm going to go through the installation and the deinstallation of Nightguard. So Nightguard is an app that lets you look at Night Scout, and I'm going to just hit the shut off arrow, and it's now off the watch. And now I'm going to and so if you were to go up to my complication now, see my modular complication, the middle bottom is now empty. It's gone. But I want to put that back on. So I'm going to go down to Nightguard.
What you'll notice on the right side is all the little boxes that say you can install all of those apps.
And I'm now reinstalling Nightguard. Now I do find the Loop app is fairly large for the phone. So when I first set up the phone or the watch, kind of every app installed, and then I realized when I started looping, which I'd already owned the watch when I started looping, that there wasn't enough room to put Loop on it. So so I actually had to go back, and Nightguard actually popped back into the middle of the complication. So I guess it knew it used to be there. So now there are other watch faces that really work effectively in Loop. But because I have an Apple Watch 3, I have to be low tech. So here are some other watch faces.
Can I put this up, Quinn?
Oh yeah, you can put it up.
There we go.
I like my low tech way.
Just so you see, the one on the upper left, the modular, is available pretty much for every Apple Watch. The next three, I believe, are only on the 4 and the 5. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I went desperately looking for the infographic when I was on it too, and realized it just didn't run that way. So these are some of the options. These are not diabetes related, but in all of those little spots, you can put something. Okay, there you go.
All right. So, what are some useful diabetes apps for your Apple Watch? And I'm going to give you just a quick tour on my Apple Watch of each one. The first one that probably is the one I use the most often is Loop. And Loop basically has two screens on it. This is the default screen, and it's showing that my blood glucose is currently 130, and then I'm trending towards a 68. I have the carb button, so I can give carbs. I can turn my wheel to change the carbs. I can push the time and turn. Is it? Yep, I can turn now. It's a little small for me, even me, so it's probably small for you. But I'm turning the time to actually change the carbs because I tapped on the time and I'm now spinning the crown. And I can change the absorption. And I can push add carbs, but I don't need any carbs right now because I've got all the carbs I need.
Are you able to set anything other than the icons? Like the amount of hours for absorption?
You cannot change, you can only do the standard icons. Now, if you've rebuilt your loop with different times, those icons will use the carb absorption time of the different time that you pick. So for instance, I have changed my taco and my pizza and added 1 hour to them. So that now I change that in my loop app build. So the second screen is a trend graph of where you're going, and it looks like actually it looks like Loop is currently thinking I'm heading towards a crash, but I did just eat something, so hopefully I'm okay. It says I have 9.3 units of active insulin. I did just recently carb and bolus for dinner. 36 grams of active carbs. I have a net basal rate of minus 0.9 an hour, so I've got a deficit basal right now, and I have 99 units in my Medtronic pump.
Go ahead and tap on the active carbs too, there, Glenn. That shows the most recent active carb entries, or all of them for the day, for the most part. So total carbs, active carbs, and then you can kind of see what time and the amount of those carb entries. You can't see anything else about them. You don't get to see how long the absorption is or anything else, but you can see what's active or even what's coming. If the time was in the future, you can use it to look and see when you were thinking you were going to eat for your pre-bolus.
So that's pretty dang cool. And is there anything different, Kenny, on the Omnipod, different from the Medtronic?
No,
I don't think there is.
Not on the watch, no.
Yeah, so the only thing different is that it just shows that you have more than 50 units in the reservoir if you're on an Omnipod. And on the Medtronic, it actually shows how much you actually have. So
you're getting a phone call.
Yeah, I'm getting a charity call, which is probably one I don't want.
That's probably JF.
Yeah. I actually know who it is, but I'm not going to say it. But you could probably guess, Joanne. So let's talk about useful diabetes apps for the watch. So I currently have 4 apps displayed on this watch. I have Nightguard, and let me just show you the iPhone equivalent of Nightguard. So there is the iPhone equivalent of the Nightguard. I've actually only had this on for a couple of days. I think I actually installed it yesterday because several people talked about this app in the group. And so I figured, well, you know, if people are talking about it, I should probably talk about it too. So I have Nightguard in the bottom middle. I have Loop in the bottom left. And I have Dexcom in the bottom right. Now, I have one other app that is on Loop, and you might remember, or on the watch, and it's actually the calendar. And the calendar one is interesting because the calendar is the way that Sugarmate gets the blood glucose readings to Loop. So we have another quiz. The quiz is, on the watch app, which application is more likely to have a current and correct blood sugar reading? 1, Dexcom. 2, Nightguard. 3, Loop. Or 4, Sugarmate?
Ooh.
Oh, I think Kenny saw the script ahead. I didn't see anybody else because I don't have it in the right view. But yes, Sugarmate is the correct one. And the reason for that is that Apple has put a restriction on what third-party apps, how much control third-party apps can do of the Apple Watch in order to favor apps that are created by Apple, and also to save the battery life of the Apple Watch. So guess who made the calendar app? Apple. So Sugarmate, and also I believe someone else has also figured out how to use the calendar app other than Sugarmate to transmit blood sugars. But Sugarmate uses the calendar app. So we'll talk briefly about how Sugarmate is used to control the calendar app. So I'm actually going to go into Sugarmate. I actually have it open right now.
While you're doing that, just as a little teaser for Saturday, we have Josh Juster, who is the developer of Sugarmate. He's the Type 1. He's from my hometown, turns out. But he's going to be doing the presentation on this Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And he'll answer all the questions. So we have the expert coming in to talk to us about his software.
And I'm just going to give you a preview of Sugarmate because we're actually going to talk about Sugarmate quite a bit over the next few weeks. But Sugarmate is actually sort of like a statistical dashboard. And what's neat about Sugarmate is it shows you all kinds of things like estimated A1C, GMI, the number of hours that you've been in range since the last time you had a low or a high, your percent of range for the day, your average blood glucose for the day or last 24 hours. And so it's pretty neat little app for statistical tracking. And I actually use it a lot for like goals and streaks. And I'm going to talk about that in a couple of weeks also. So like one of the streaks I like to do is the number of hours in range. And actually I don't have a really good one right now because I had a low a few hours ago. But it shows you some stats that are kind of neat, and I actually like to use that and go, can I get 20 hours of time in range? Can I get that up to 24? Can I get it to 30? So in the Sugarmate app, I'm going to pick this off and of course it's not being responsive right now. Oh, there it is. In the Sugarmate app, if you click on Apple Watch and go into setup, it has some very nice very tedious but detailed instructions of how to set up Sugarmate to go to the Apple Watch. So basically, what you do is you set it up to essentially send your reading to a special calendar that's part of your iCloud account that's called Sugarmate. So, and in order to use it effectively, you need the calendar application, up in your complications list. So that's part of the reason that I use the modular complication, because it's probably the best complication for leaving the calendar up. And then on top of that, I actually go, I go into my calendars, and I'll just go into my Sugarmate calendar, and it will actually show on the phone. Excuse me, I went to the wrong place. I just wanted to show the calendar. So as you can see right now, like I have 2 appointments on my calendar. I have Skylar at 6:30 or 4:30, my gym guy, and I have a most recent blood glucose reading. What Sugarmate does is it actually every 5 minutes will sends a new calendar invite to your phone, and it keeps updating this calendar invite. And it's sort of just a glitch in the watch that lets it keep updating, and it lets it go to the phone constantly. So now we're going to go back to the watch screen. And we're going to look at calendar. And what I have done is, instead of mirroring my phone where I show all my calendars, I've gone down to custom. And in order to be simple, I actually turned all my calendars off other than Sugarmate. But you certainly can keep other calendars on, but I've decided that, hey, I just want to be simple. I only want Sugarmate on my watch, and my appointments for work, they're not important. I'd rather have Sugarmate. So, what are other things that are actually good on the watch? Let's go back.
There's a timer you can put on. I think Kenny had mentioned, so if you want to remind yourself of when to put a bolus in, or when you need to eat, if you need to be reminded to eat, a timer works well, and also activity if you want to be reminded to get up from your desk and move.
Yeah, so I actually have, so the way my watch is set up is I have like 4 default watch faces, and one of them is Surrey. So I can actually scroll between the watch faces, and on Surrey, I actually have the timer up. And then normally my modular watch face is more like this watch face that's on the right, because I have 2 copies of modular, and the modular watch face that's on the right is the more normal one, and it actually has activity instead of Nightguard. So that's pretty much the Apple Watch.
Glenn, how often do you find yourself changing the watch face?
Almost never.
Okay.
So I changed it a little bit to prep for this. So I did add Nightguard on, and I took off, I took off activity. I've sort of made the decision in my own mind to not, to just to sort of make my watch more dedicated to diabetes than work. So I've decided to really, not have my work calendar on there. I do let notifications go to my watch that mirror my phone. So like I still get notifications that say I've got a meeting coming up soon, but I actually don't have the work meeting showing on my watch.
Okay.
So that's, I've sort of set the line between, diabetes and work by just kind of making my watch more diabetes dedicated.
Glenn, can you use Siri with Loop?
I haven't tried it, but I believe you can. So I believe that you can set up Siri to tell it. I believe you can set up a. Oh man, you did a good job of Stump the Band there. I believe that you can set up a shortcut that says like, please, Siri, enter carbs into free APS.
Okay.
And it will then bring up. Well, the thing is, I think it'll bring it up on the phone though. That's the problem.
So there's a shortcut, like a Siri shortcut, kind of like the shortcuts you make on the phone that we're going to cover in another session.
Mm-hmm.
And you can create a shortcut that way, like an actual tap on shortcut that can add carbs. So that way you can have a quick action to be able to add carbs from your pull down or your left screen or whatever. I don't know that the voice command works. I know if it does, it's only going to launch the carb screen. It's not going to actually enter the amount of carbs, as far as I know. I think what I've seen in the group is that's people consider that a little bit dangerous to have someone be able to do voice command to try to enter carbs in the loop. So it just launched the add carb screen, as far as I know.
Yeah, I can say open loop and it'll open up to the loop screen on my watch.
Oh, there you go. That's fun.
So that's pretty basic.
But important. The other thing to do with the watch that's covered in Loop Docs is that you can set your screen to, instead of going back to your modular watch face, it can instead keep the last app you had open up front. And so I often just leave Loop open. It can be a little dangerous because you can bump it and add carbs and things of that nature. I think you have to do it from within. I might be able to do it in the settings.
I think you're actually able to. I think you do it in the settings.
And you can do it from the watch. That's how I usually do it, but it might be in here. It'd be under display and brightness, I think. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, it's not there.
I'm
it's
wrong.
Not there.
Try general then. Apple likes to put everything in general. No, I think you have to. No, awake screen. There you go. Awake screen. That's it. And then you can say on screen wake show last app, and you can say, if you say always, for example, on the bottom section there, then if you had Loop open or Dexcom open or whatever app you had open last, it would stay up on the watch. So if you like to flip over and look at it, you could. That's another way to get your BGs a little more often. If you have Loop or Dexcom or Nightguard open on the watch all the time, when you wake it up, it'll ping the phone and refresh its numbers.
And the thing that you'll notice on Dexcom, so like for instance, right now, my Sugarmate says that I'm 108, but my Loop says I'm 92, my Nightguard says I'm 119, and my Dexcom says I'm 100.
Go and raise it up a little.
There
you go.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, the only one that is right
to the calendar, which is
going to be the calendar. So let's, and guess what? They were all wrong. Every single one of them was wrong.
And if you do a finger stick, that'll be different too.
So
let's not go there, man.
So what's interesting is Loop was actually the only one that was right. And the calendar is wrong. So the one thing I did want to cover is I did make a posting in Loop a couple of days ago where someone asked how to get the calendar to display right in Sugarmate. And I was going to, again, if you can try this out, if it doesn't work, we can ask Josh this weekend. But essentially, what do you do to make one of the parameters in the calendar is you need to make sure that your calendar is on push. So the way you put your calendar on push is you go into fetch new data in passwords and accounts, and you click on iCloud. Let's see, where you select schedule push. So it's just on the top.
Okay.
And again, that was posted in. There was a posting on Loop on that yesterday, and we can put it in the comments. And again, if I know a lot of people have trouble, with their watch getting things to refresh, and that's unfortunately one of the shortcomings with the watch. And I think it's actually gotten worse as the watch has become more capable, and as Apple has controlled more of the applications with the watch. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's kind of what I found.
So we have two questions that are similar that I have to put on the watch face again because it sometimes goes to other watch faces. And I haven't seen that. I'm not sure if that meant the screen that it opens to or whether it absolutely changes the watch face. Is that something you're familiar with, or Kenny? Or Sarah?
Yeah, you can change the watch face kind of easily on the watch if you hold it up, and if you're on the watch face and you like long press or push hard or something like that, it's easy to switch between watch faces. So I would go into the watch app on the phone and just remove all the watch faces you're not going to use. That way you don't have. I have had that happen before.
And that's one of the reasons.
But
like the normal default on the watch is to show like 30 watch faces.
Ones, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've actually taken all the extras off because of that glitch.
So if you go to edit in the top right, you should be able to just remove the ones you don't want. So for example, like you would just hit the minus next to the ones you wouldn't use. So I only use one, the modular one. And so I would just hit minus on all the rest of them and get rid of all of them. But if you wanted different layouts, like Glenn's got two modular ones right now, one for right now and one for probably normal use. You could keep those, but if you're not going to use any of them, I would just come into the watch app and remove all the ones you're not going to use. That way, if it does switch, for us, we only have one, so it can't switch.
Yeah,
you can't switch.
So like for instance, I never use utilities, so I'm going to take that off now.
There you go.
But I do like to have activity on because that's the one I use for in exercise. I do have activity in modular also, and I do like Siri for the timer.
Yep. So you can hit done there, and then now you can't switch to that one anymore from your watch.
Okay, are there any more questions?
And it's kind of nice. Yeah, whichever one you pick is the one that shows on your watch next.
Anybody have any questions, or are you using a watch face that you like that we haven't talked about that you want to share? Throw it into the chat.
So there's a question there. How do I transfer Loop onto my son's watch? I forget how to add apps. So in this watch app that Glenn has here, if you go down to the bottom, you should see the kind of third-party apps near the bottom. There we go. That list down there.
Yeah. Yep. So what I'll do is
section. That's the like Apple-y things, and then right there is the third-party. You see Nightguard there. You see others, and if it's not installed, you would pick from there and click Install. Now, most of the time, if Loop didn't get pushed onto your watch right away, and you go down to the bottom there and it says install and you click install, it won't go back. It won't come back on your watch. Usually there's a glitch. So in Loop Docs, there's a quick mention of it. But essentially what you do is if you click install and it looks like it's going around and it's trying to install and it gets to the end and then like it says install again, and you're sad because you're like, I just did this and it didn't work.
So for instance,
go and tap install and see if it actually works. Sometimes I've done uninstall and then it doesn't go back on. It'll spin around and eventually it should install on the watch. Now, if it doesn't for some reason, or it keeps like circling around and then coming back to the install button, what you'll have to do is you'll need to unpair the watch. So from the main watch app, you can select unpair watch. And then when you have to repair it again, now you're allowed to pair a new watch. You pair the watch again, but you want to pair it. It gives you two options: restore the watch from a backup, or to pair it as a new watch. And you'll want to pair it as new, and then do any updates that need to be done. And then you'll need to plug your phone back in and do a fresh build of loop. You can use the whatever build you had already running, just hit play and build it again. And once it does a fresh build, it'll push the app successfully onto your watch. I've had it a couple of times where the watch app just stops working, and I can't get it to. It shows up on this list down here that Glenn has, and it says, "Oh, you can install it," and it just doesn't work. So the only way to fix it at the moment is to just unpair the watch, repair as new, and build again, and then it'll be back on the.
And if in your mind you're saying, uh-oh, I don't want to have to build the loop again, go back and watch some of the videos on Loop Workspace. I upgraded my watch yesterday, and so I set up the watch as new, and I knew I was going to have to rebuild the loop. It took me 5 minutes.
Angela is asking, what is Nightguard versus Night Scout? I just tried Nightguard the other night. So the Night Scout app is really just a container, a little like wrapper around the actual Night Scout webpage, with the ability to like lock the screen and leave it on so that you can hear the alarms. Nightguard is a little nicer. It's the same thing. You put in your Night Scout information and it pulls all the data in. You get some stats. You get the plus minus differential. You get the green line is the current day. The gray line is yesterday at the same time, which is kind of fun. And it's got a little nicer management for snoozing alarms.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can change your stats between today and yesterday, last 24 hours, last 8 hours, and current day.
The alarms are much nicer on Nightguard for sure, and you can lock to keep the screen open. You have predictive. I mean, you can turn predictive alarms on and stuff, but you have snooze options. You can do predictive, like going to be low in 15 minutes kind of thing. But on here, you can actually enable it as well. But what it doesn't have, as far as I could tell yesterday, is there's no way to use the care portal, so you can't add stuff. So if you like to access Night Scout from your phone, not just for the alarms and stuff, but to like scrub through and see the loop predictions, you can't do that here. If you want to go into the care portal and add a pump site change or a CGM site change or a temp override remote using the Night Scout site, you can't do that from Nightguard. It's really just a read only of most of the Night Scout data.
Is, there's like a scatter screen in Nightguard that just drives me batty. So
it's like the Dexcom
I just don't know.
Few days,
I just don't know how anyone can figure that out. So
will you bring up your watch, Glenn? Just does it key off what Sarah was saying there? If you push and hold on the screen to on your watch face, that's how you switch watch faces. There you go. And then if you had others, you could slide between them like that. So that's how you'd get to them. And so that's probably how yours gets switched. Whoever was asking earlier, is you probably bump it, like just touch it, or your hand touches it for a little bit, whatever. So, and the Night Scout and Night Scout X are two apps in the App Store. They're going to just containers around Night Scout, so you can still get to your care portal and things of that nature, and see the loop predictions, and to put your finger and scrub along the bottom on the mini graph to kind of slide through history. So you can't see all the basal changes and all that, and the boluses and whatnot as easily on Nightguard. So.
Yeah, and the other thing that's tough about Nightguard X, you can't change the brightness level. It's set for like a nighttime brightness level, so it's a little dim for me, but it's still okay.
Nina, to uninstall or remove apps you don't need, you should be able to go in the Watch app on the phone and do what Glenn just did. He tapped on free APS and then toggled it off, so it uninstalled it from the phone. You saw him do it just a few minutes ago.
And actually, what I found because I had my watch quite a long time before I looped. What I actually found the first time that I built Loop was I actually had to delete a whole bunch of watch apps before I could even get Loop onto the watch. So if somebody has had a watch before, and they get the watch going, they might end up having to, get a bunch of the junk apps off.
So Melba, to get Nightguard going, you have to download it. Then in the bottom right, you see the settings. You go into settings, and you can enter your Night Scout URL.
And
you
you
have to enter
you
that.
downloaded from the App Store.
Yeah, it's an App Store app. Yep. The only thing I'll add, I guess, is something I covered in one of our tips and tricks video is if you bring up your watch and open up Loop, Glenn, since you have a nice visual there, and like add some carbs. You don't need to actually add them, but just hit the carb button. There you go. Well, it's loading because you just installed it. So it was something to know is like you can tap on the plus and the minus that adds and subtracts 5 carbs at a time. But I usually use the crown just like he's doing to scroll through the number of carbs you want to add, and then you can tap on the time and light up the time. And once the time is lit green, you can use the plus and the minus to jump 15 minutes at a time on the left and right of the screen. But I find I usually end up clicking out of the app when I do that. And otherwise, you use the scroll wheel, the crown, to adjust the time. So those are good for like adding carbs in the past. If you thought, oh, I needed to add more carbs to my last entry, but you don't want to pull your phone out, or in the case of a caregiver, you don't want to go bother your child for their phone. You can look at this active carb list that we showed earlier and then look at the time and enter the carbs, an hour ago when they ate lunch, like, oh, I should have added 5 carbs to that. You can do that, or you can put it ahead for a pre-bolus, whatever floats your boat. The other thing to notice just on how to use Loop is you can set overrides. So on the Loop app, Glenn, you flip that up again, you got the heart icon on the bottom right. So you can set any preset overrides. Any overrides you've created, it hasn't loaded them yet because you reinstalled. Looks like you
Yeah,
may have
it's
to
still
open your.
because I did the
You may have to open Loop
reinstall.
on your phone. But any preset, like pre-built overrides, there you go. It should be able to load. You could be able to pick each one of those from the watch. You can't edit them and say, hey, don't run for an hour, run for 2 hours or anything like that. Whatever the preset is here is what you'll be able to access from the watch. Same with the pre-meal option. And then, of course, you can manually bolus, which is, what you can do there.
I wanted to chime in here. One thing that I like about the watch is setting the reminding timer. So when, like right now, my Dexcom is resetting, so Loop isn't running unless I'm entering manual blood sugars. And so I'll set a 15-minute timer, just saying, "Hey Siri," and it'll do a repeat timer, and it'll remind me to enter that blood sugar, or test my blood sugar, and enter it into Loop in the Apple Health. And so that's one thing I really like, because if not, I would just forget. And so every 15 minutes I get an alarm that's like, okay, test my blood sugar, enter it, and then Loop will keep running.
Love it. And then the other one we mentioned that I mentioned in Loop tips and tricks is you can slide up from the bottom. You know how to bring the dock up from the bottom, Glenn? You kind of got to like long press or kind of leave your finger near the bottom and kind of just patiently wait to slide your finger up to get the the quick access where you like ping your phone. Do you know how to do that? Yeah. So if you can get that up, it's a little bit of a pain. So go from the bottom of the screen.
I got to switch to the right. I got to switch to the right screen again. Okay.
Okay. So slide up from the bottom. Just leave your finger at the bottom for a sec, and then it should get like there you go and slide up. So now you can turn on. See the little phone looks like its phone's vibrating. Go ahead and hit that, and it'll make a nice noise. There you go, a little sonar noise. So that's good for if you lost your phone, if you don't know where you put it, or in the case of a caregiver, your kid left their phone somewhere and they don't remember where it is in the house. And rather than even argue about it, you just like ping it a bunch of times because I'm wearing the watch and Tessa's got her phone or did have her phone somewhere. And again, like we mentioned in the other video, I'll use it when we're at parties or something or out and about. I need to get her attention and she's within Wi-Fi range or Bluetooth range of the watch. I can ping the phone and it will get her attention to come to me. And if she's further than that, I just have to log into iCloud on my phone and then I can do the really annoying like find my phone that doesn't stop until you touch the power button on the phone. Either way,
yeah, and
works.
it's convenient because I'm over 60 years old, so I have to do that fairly often to find my phone too.
Yeah, but you don't always think about it when it's your kid on the phone. But you can use it to Tessa knows it's like the hey, come see me, sort of thing. So that works out pretty well.
Well, I've been trying to figure out what to do with my Apple II watch and trying to get my husband to use it. This will be the clincher for him because he can't never find his phone. So can you change the volume on the ping?
No, it's just loud.
Okay.
The tile, Angela's mentioning a tile. We have a tile on our Riley link as well, and you can launch the tile noise from the watch. It's really from the watch to the phone and the phone to the tile, but you can bring up the tile app on the watch and trigger it as well. So that works.
All right.
Yes, Julie,
were there any other?
entering BG readings into health during warm-up. That's definitely something you should do.
I think we know everything we need to know. Probably next time you hear from Glenn, he's going to ask you questions to see if you did your homework. Okay. Thank you, Glenn. That was excellent. Really excellent. So I'm going to talk to you about IFTTT and iOS shortcuts. I think so. I'm going to do a screen share because I don't have the setup that Glenn has. Which is really cool. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to talk to you about IFTTT, which is an app you can get out of the App Store. I actually joined the IFTTT Facebook group to see if someone from that group could come talk with us about it. And they really don't know the diabetes app, so it's going to be me with Sarah as a strong backup. So I downloaded this app and I thought, what am I going to do with it? And I decided to try to build it. So what you see are these are the 5 things I have put into my phone through IFTTT, that when if I'm going to go exercise on the elliptical, I don't go into Night Scout, go to the plus screen, go to enter a note, and then type it in. I just hit elliptical and it goes. So I'll show you on my home screen. On my phone, if you swipe to the right, you'll get all the things you can set up as your favorites. So I put IFTTT at the top, and you'll see that there are little arrows because I have more than 4. I have 5 actually. And so let's say I'm going to do a Pilates workout. I tap on the Pilates workout. In 2 seconds, I get a check mark. You see it kind of scroll up. It's a check mark, and then it instantly shows up on Night Scout. So to me, it's a cool shortcut. I don't have to keep entering it. And these are the ones I've done so far when I do a site change or a new sensor or restart a sensor, and that automatically feeds into Night Scout. There are a lot of options that you can use with this, and Kate Farnsworth has done an awful lot of good things about that. But let me show you how it works, because it's really not that difficult to do. So if you go to IFTTT and you say you want to create an applet, it opens up a screen and you can enter, and this tells you when I did it, you have to enter your Heroku site, and then you say, I want to post, and then you click on this little pull down menu and you say you want an application JSON, and then in the body is where the important stuff happens. This is what you want it to do. You want to press a button. You want to have an event type. You want to maybe note the duration, and then maybe you want to put a note. So in here, this one I put in elliptical, and then you enter your secret, your hash API secret. We'll talk about that in a quick second, but what I need to tell you is there are very, very distinct directions that Kate has given, and also you'll get that in IFTTT, and you really need to follow them like step by step. Once you do, they run. It's cool, it's fast, and you don't have to keep repeating things over and over again. You will need to know your hashed API secret, which was kind of a challenge for me, and Sarah kind of guided me through. And you're going to need to make 2 changes in the GitHub configuration settings, but it's easy. And I have been involved with this community in Night Scout for almost as long as Kenny's daughter has been on the face of the earth, but I am not the technical people like Kenny or Glenn. I am the one who can read instructions. And if someone asks me a question, I will defer to the very technical people. But if I can do this, anybody can do this. So it's doable. this comes from Kate's website, and I just posted the link to it on SoCal Loopers, telling you how to get. You're going to need your API secret and your hash API secret, which are two different things. But it tells you exactly how to get it. I don't expect you to read this, and I'm not going to ask you a quiz. But this is really all you need to do. And then you just build it like that. You tell it to build, and that's what it creates. So in your home screen in the app, it just comes up in your account as these are the 5 or however many you want, and then it's in your phone. I love this. I think it's great. So that's IFTTT. You can set targets. You can set temp rates. See, they're things that I don't use, so I haven't built them. But go look at Kate's ideas and or ask anybody in the group, and you get to play with those. So let me take you over to shortcuts.
I just downloaded the app and I don't understand how to make an applet.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Amy, I'm Cynthia.
Hi there. You have to, you go into, you make an account. And
You have the instructions in this one?
I can't really see that.
That's the I think you have the instructions in.
Yeah. So the instructions are you'll download the app, but then you'll have to get onto a laptop or a computer
It's a lot of
and log into the IFTTT site, create your account, and then from there you'll follow those instructions.
Right. Once you set up your account in IFTTT, and yeah, I would use the desktop or a laptop. Then you just go into your profile, and there's a little tab that says Create, and it just feeds you the menu that I had up, and you just actually enter it. And if you can get some of the previous descriptions from Kate's website, or I can send you a couple, then you just copy and paste because you don't want to mistype or miss a space. So easy. Send a message if you get stuck, but again, if I can do this, anybody can do this. The other way you can do shortcuts is iOS shortcuts, and I just can't quite believe how easy it is. So right after dinner tonight, I thought, well, let me just add one new shortcut to remind myself how to do it, and it just popped up easily. It kind of menu feeds you as anything iOS was going to do. So let me. What you're going to see on the left of the screen is underneath the IFTTT, which I put on my favorites menu. If you swipe to the right, you'll get your favorites. I put IFTTT at the top. I put shortcuts at the bottom, underneath it, and then loop underneath that, because those are the things I really care about. And I had originally put in something that says G6, and it says, just give me my blood sugar reading. And so you can swipe left, hit the button, and it gives you your Dexcom reading. That's kind of cool. I don't use it, but it's there. I had also downloaded the FPU, the Loop FPU shortcut, but I don't fully understand it, so I haven't run it yet. But today I added the Apple Health blood glucose screen, because when I'm in the 2-hour warm-up time on a sensor, I put my blood sugar readings into the Apple Health app, which reads into Loop, and then I can bolus from there during those 2 hours when I don't have other readings. So I wanted to be able to go there quickly, add the blood sugar reading, and then it'll go right into Loop. So I did that today right after dinner. You go to the shortcut screen, you say, what do you want to do? This is another one that I didn't do yet, is you can add carbs, a carb entry, and when you hit it and you show it when you run it, it will bring up the screen where you can add carb entry. But and so I did that just to see how it worked, and I pushed the button and there it was. This is way simple. And If these are repetitive tasks that you use, why not? It's available to you. It's kind of fun, and then you just don't have to think about it. You maybe you cut off maybe 15, 20 seconds on your day, but diabetes takes enough time as it is. So this is less amount of time. It's a shortcut. So that's a fast and simple way. I put up in files in SoCal Loopers, both shortcuts and IFTTT files. You can go through theirs and see if there's anything that you want to play with, and if you have questions, just ask. So,
Joanne, do you have this one? There's one that, and I feel like we should start like a post, but I don't know where I got it from. It just says it's a loop shortcut. I don't know if anyone else has it, but let's see here. You can set an
I actually have
overall.
I
do you
have
that one,
loops.
Glenn, too?
I have it on, and I actually have it on the phone right
Okay,
now
yeah,
on
that
the
one.
screen.
That's how I enter my manual. It's like a loop shortcut, and I don't know who posted it a while back, but I've had it on my phone for the longest time, and I use it a lot.
where did you get it, or where did?
I got it from Katie's sort of bundle of shortcuts that she posted, I don't know, in like August of last year.
What's this thing?
Yeah, so it actually, I just brought it up. So you just pick which one you want. And I think a couple of these might, this is the full list of shortcuts that's in that loop shortcut.
I click on that manual BG entry to help. That's how I enter it very quickly. That's in, yeah.
I just posted that link in files, and it shows you all the different things you can do with that. So go look in files in SoCal Loopers, and you'll see Katie's iOS shortcuts.
Yeah, it's got some fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
Stats and quick actions. And you can edit the shortcut to set those temp overrides if you want to use that to do it. And that's more useful probably for a caregiver, right? If you want a remote instead of a remote override, using sorry, turn my video back on. It's using the shortcut because you may not be in watch range, or you don't want to open up Night Scout and hit plus and create it. I don't have an iPhone, so I have to use Night Scout. But if you're using an iPhone, then the shortcut's really nice. You can just tap the set remote override and fire it off.
Oh, there you go. That I did that in less than 15 minutes.
Congratulations.
If you have any questions, just put them up in SoCal Loopers. One of us will jump in and answer it. Thank you, everybody. If there's something that you have a burning desire to learn and you would like us to satisfy that burning desire, just let us know. Post it on SoCal Loopers. Let us know how we're doing, and you have a safe and peaceful and healthy week. And we'll see you on Saturday. Definitely come back and check us out. All right, thanks, everybody. You all have a good evening. Bye.